Sarah Braunstein. I have to tell you something. I got an email 4 months ago. Well, first of all, I run a literary and music series at Joe's Pub called Happy Ending.
Yes.
And I get an email about 4 months ago from Salvatore Schibona.
Oh.
And the content of the email doesn't care how I'm doing. No hi. I just read the most incredible book. You have to read it. You have to get your hands on it. And you have to book Sarah Braunstein. You have to book Sarah Braunstein.
Oh, that's so nice.
So ever since, but see, this whole thing is created this like, I have to get Sarah Braunstein. I have to get Sarah Braunstein. And your book's not even out yet, and you're nominated for this.
It's kooky.
It's amazing.
It's kooky, right?
But it's
Well, I hope that you read it, and I hope that you like it. I hope that it lives up to that.
It will. It'll exceed.
That's lovely. Well, this is a thrill.
Good. I'm glad. And how did you spend your day?
So this was exciting. I spent a lot of time wandering around the city, which is always a treat, and did a tiny bit of reading and had lunch with my editor, and just looked forward to this event.
Where did you wander?
So I wandered really just sort of up and down Broadway, and I'd lived here years and years ago, and so it always feels sort of like returning home, even though I only lived here for...
And you're in Maine?
I live in Portland, Maine now.
Yeah.
And so just wandered and, looked in windows and watched people, and you forget how great that is. But I think anytime you've lived, I've lived in New York just a little, maybe 6 months, or 6 months to a year of my life all told, but it always feels kind of like home. So whenever I come back, I feel like, well, yeah, it's sort of so this is unreal. I don't know how I'm gonna, No.
That's how we get through everything. It's very exciting. And
this company, I've only met one of the other honorees. I've met Paul Yoon, who's lovely, and I'm really looking forward to meeting the others. So
and
tonight,
have you heard of the others?
Oh yeah, I'm excited to hear them read and actually shake their hands.
Definitely.
And that hasn't happened yet.
You guys can have a book club.
I think we're gonna maybe we should pick some of the greats and have a book club.
You should just have your own books.
Oh, our own book clubs, like read
your own books. Assign the book.
That's a good idea. So we'll see what happens. But I'm excited to thank you for the opportunity to chat, and thank you for being responsive to that email, and I hope that the book lives up to your expectations.
It will. It absolutely will. I know. Just the title alone, I already love it. But I'm really glad to meet you, and congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm sure I'll see you in there.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Jenny Ted.
I am so happy and so honored to be introducing a book I feel such passion for, The Sweet Relief of Missing Children by Sarah Braunstein. So how do I describe a novel this beautiful and this devastating? Braunstein has created a brilliant mosaic of wise children and childlike adults, each character indelible, each life shaping the others in profound and unexpected ways. The novel moves swiftly across time and place, hurtling through 3 decades from the late 60s to the late 90s, taking us to an unnamed city that eerily evokes New York, as well as a constellation of small, depressed towns upstate. In each of these times and places, we meet a life in imminent emergency. And these lives that we think at first are merely juxtaposed gradually reveal themselves to be deeply connected by bonds of loneliness and longing. As the novel travels across generations and communities, we come to understand how a wayward mother trapped in a small town, hoping to become a catalog model for a local department store, is inextricably tied to a self-possessed 6th grade girl who disappears in the big city nearly 20 years later. Braunstein practices a sort of radical empathy. She inhabits these characters so unflinchingly that she is able to release a wild mix of contradictory and thrilling and shameful emotions that we normally don't dare to articulate. But Braunstein dares, And as her title suggests, she gives voice to the feelings we thought unspeakable. Her book is unafraid to be at once compassionate and darkly funny, and also kind of hot and dirty. With arresting exactness, she traces love's strange and manifold forms, from the devotion of a peeping Tom to the envy a parent feels towards her runaway child. There is such urgent and immaculate writing here, such fierce clarity of vision. I surfaced from this novel feeling shaken, exhilarated, changed. And I know that come February, you will feel that way too.
Well, thank you so much for that extraordinary introduction. I need a breath. It's a thrill to be here and to be in this company, and thank you so much to Sarah and to the National Book Foundation. Okay, so I'm just going to read pretty much from the start. 1. The boy wanted a new name. He'd read about boys in Africa who at a certain point in time officially became men. And to celebrate, they're given special spears, tiny as toothpicks, which someone else inserts into their penis. And also, they get a bride and a mask. There was a ceremony full of bloody cattle and drums where something that represented your old name, a symbol, got thrown right into the fire. It crackled and was dead. He could go without the penis spear, the bride, but he loved the idea of a new name, of igniting the old one, which was incidental, a word, his own word, so plain and flat it made him feel middle-aged. What was that special age for kids in Africa? When were they allowed to shed themselves? Probably not 10, he reasoned. Tonight was his birthday. He was 10. It was a Saturday evening, early in the spring of 1980. The miracle on ice had happened, and it felt to him like that was it. That was the miracle for his era, and he was sad. Once upon a time, miracles were bigger, Jesus or Joan of Arc, for instance. It was a quiet disappointment to live in an age where miracles were relegated to sports. And he didn't have anything against sports. If he became a professional athlete, he had a name chosen, Felix Castoff. If he became an actor, Gregory Duke. Sure, he was proud of that hockey team. He loved America, loved the underdog, loved the myth that Americans had underdog souls. But the word miracle made him feel somehow gypped. Most of the time, he felt trapped by his childhood. It was like watching TV, a decent show, and then a commercial comes on and lasts too long, an advertisement for oldies but goodies, song titles scrolling endlessly across the screen, when all he wanted was to discover the fate of the bank robber or the bound and gagged girl. He hated commercials but loved television. The girl always got untied. She was always okay, and if she wasn't, it was because she was the wrong kind of girl to begin with. His mother went by Goldie. Her real name was something that she never spoke aloud. He assumed it must be hideous, for her eyes narrowed and mouth puckered whenever he asked about it. At some point, he stopped asking. But then, one day, poking around in her drawers, he came upon an official document and saw her name there in clear type, Maureen Lynn. Maureen Lynn? What was so shameful about Maureen Lynn? He couldn't ask her. He called her Ma. She called him by his name, or sometimes Sugar Lump. Maybe in some part of the world, turning 10 meant freedom, meant you were given a bow, an arrow, or bazooka, and told to go off and forge your path, but not here. They sat across from each other at a card table, a vase of white carnations between them, a birthday cake, a white balloon tied to the back of his chair. His name was Paul, but it didn't have to be forever. You're a big boy now, Goldie was saying. It's time you get the straight story. You want the straight story? He said he wanted to eat the cake. Goldie didn't seem to hear him. She said, "Let me tell you loud and clear, the truth has not vanished from the earth. Don't believe the hype." The hype? People are still capable of honesty, she said. Not just Christians, regular folks. You and me. It pleased him. He couldn't help it that she called them regular. Was it true? On the table, the cake beckoned sadistically. It wasn't fair making him look for so long. A matchbox car sat buried to its axles in frosting. No one made a cake like Goldie. Her cakes were gritty, riotously sweet, pleasantly chalky. She said, I'll give you as much truth as you can take. When you don't want any more, you say so. Say the word, I'll stop. He agreed to this plan. Truth number one, she said. Your father was a fraud and a dud. You know what a dud is? He didn't. A dud is can't get it up for more than 30 seconds. She cocked her head, paused. You know what I mean by it? She poured herself more gin. Yes, he said. The matchbox car was red with a blue stripe across its top. He wanted to lick its undercarriage. His hunger distressed him by and large. He had a memory of a man. His father? It wasn't clear. The memory was dim. There had been many men. This one was sitting on the floor of the kitchen eating marshmallow fluff, scooping it from the jar with fingers, no spoon, wide-eyed, desperate in the manner of a bloated raccoon. He said, why was my father a fraud? His mother took another swallow, set her tumbler on the table's top. He's a fraud because he told me he'd put me through college. He told me he'd never met someone so pretty and that he never wanted to touch another lady on this good green earth and that he'd be honored to have me as his last. He asked what was the difference between a fraud and a liar. Goldie thought about it. A fraud is someone whose whole being, body and soul, is full of lies, all the organs, the skin, not a pore free of them. A liar is a person who tells stories now and then. You and me, we're just liars. He wanted to lick the wheels of the car, but his mother held him at bay. She was guard of the cake. She was guard of everything. Thank you.